doesn't like a sweet treat on a cool fall night? I know I can't help but enjoy the scent of homemade cookies baking in the oven and biting into the sugary crumble once they are complete. I would love to show you all a simple and delicious sugar cookie recipe that only takes about 20 minutes to make, from preparation to taking the colorful cookies out of the oven. The preparation only takes 3 simple steps. First, I gotta wash my hands. You want to make sure you wash your hands whenever you are working with food. Even though many of the germs will bake off in the oven, you want to make sure that anything that isn't safe to get in your dough is washed off. Now I want to make sure that I preheat my oven. For this recipe, we want the oven at 375 degrees. Once I find the perfect consistency for my cookies, I want to make sure that I can bake them for the same amount of time every time so that I can always achieve that consistency. So that is why we preheat the oven. Finally, I want to gather all of my ingredients. A tip for remembering which ingredients you have used is to place all of your ingredients on a cutting board or a piece of parchment paper and take them off as you use them. This ensures that you don't forget the baking powder or add too much salt and watch the faces cringe of those who are eating your cookies. As you can see, I've pre-measured some of my ingredients. This is another way that you can make sure you have the right amount of all of your ingredients and don't use any ingredients twice. But just remember, when you measure things like flour or baking powder, that you level off the top of the measuring cup or spoon so that you do have an accurate measurement. Once your ingredients are prepared, you are ready to add them to your mixing bowl. I will begin by mixing the dry ingredients. This recipe consists of 2 3/4 cups all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon baking powder. You just want to mix these ingredients until they are combined so that your dough has an even amount of baking powder and baking soda throughout. Next, creaming takes place with the butter and sugar. I've already creamed together 1 cup butter and 1.5 cups sugar until the mixture became smooth. To finish the wet ingredients, I'm going to add 1 egg and 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. I will once again beat these ingredients until they are smooth. Now it is time to add the wet and dry ingredients together. I mixed the dry and wet ingredients separate earlier because to make sure that the leaveners, in this case the baking powder and baking soda, don't react with the wet ingredients too early in the process. The cookies may not rise as well if the leaveners are activated too early on. Now, I will add the flour mixture to the wet ingredients gradually. Just until they are incorporated. This part can get a little messy. Now my dough is ready to be rolled and placed on the baking sheet. This is when the fun part begins. I will take teaspoonfuls of the dough and roll them into balls. Once I have formed the dough ball, I will roll it in the rainbow sprinkles. These just give it a little more color and excitement. Now I place the sprinkled dough about 2 inches apart on an ungreased baking sheet. I've used a piece of parchment paper on my baking sheet so that the cookies are easy to remove at the end, and it also helps for easier cleanup, but that's not required. And when making a recipe like this, you want to make sure that you roll all the dough balls to a consistent size so they all bake evenly and for the same amount of time. So after all the dough is on your cookie sheet, it's time to place your cookies in the oven. First, you want to make sure that your oven rack is in the middle to top third of the oven. And so if your oven rack is too low, you want to move it up before you place the cookies in. The reason for positioning the oven rack like this is because the cookies brown on the bottom faster the lower they are in the oven due to their high sugar content, and you don't want cookies with burnt bottoms. Now it's time to once you get the cookies in the oven, it's time to set your timer and be patient. These cookies take about 8 to 10 minutes to bake. So I would recommend setting your timer for 8 minutes, and after the time is ended, check your cookies, and if they aren't golden yet, then add another minute or 2. After the cookies are baked and golden, let them sit on the baking sheet for 2 minutes before removing them to cool completely. I've prepared some cookies in advance so that you all can see the final product. Don't they look tasty?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's it. It doesn't take many simple steps to create a scrumptious sugar cookie. Once the cookies are cooled completely, you can share them with whoever you'd like. Maybe I'll share with all you guys, but for now, I get to enjoy.